should be increased in order to ensure a quality candidate fills the position. Now therefore be ordained by the Common Council of the City of Newcastle, Ordinance 3871 is hereby amended to provide the salary of the manager in the year 2022 should be increased from $12 an hour to $13 per hour. Number two, all of the provisions of Ordinance 3871 which are not amended by this ordinance shall remain in full force and effect. And I move we pass this on first reading. It says provide a salary. Basically, we want to do this, provide a salary that will enable us to get a good pool. We're still have to have the, I don't know, the goodness of somebody's heart to do this, but we want to compensate them to the best of our abilities. Any discussion on this? Okay, hearing none, roll call vote.
Mike Duffy.
Aye.
Jeff Hancock. Jerry Walton. Aaron Dickens. Mark Covert. Rex Beckman.
Aye. So this passes on first reading, 3830.
This passing before I hire someone. June 1st.
So we can come back and discuss. Okay. Okay, that completes all the resolutions and ordinances. Now we will. I was going to say, do we want to? Yeah, why don't we do those awards now? So sure, those guys can get out of here if they want to.
Mike, Chris, Jennifer, you have some good?
Yes.
So we have a couple of awards for the Elks and Henry County Community Foundation. The Elks recently did a fundraiser for us, the fire department. So it reads, on behalf of the Newcastle Fire Department and in recognition of your dedication to our department, its members, and the citizens of Newcastle, with special thanks to the efforts of Chris Wilkie and Mike Hacker. For the Community Foundation, it reads the same, on behalf of the Newcastle Fire Department and in recognition of your dedication to our department, its members, and the citizens of Newcastle.
Before you sit down, I want to say thanks to the Elks. I mean, it doesn't matter what the event is, you guys are always supportive for the community and always raising money for, it doesn't matter if it's youth sports or the baby box. We appreciate everything that you do for all the professional services we have here in town. Really do appreciate it. So a wooden plaque's not exactly enough, but we really do appreciate it. And the foundation, I tell people all the time how successful we're in the top 5 or 6 foundations in the state of Indiana, and people don't realize that. There are other mayors say, well, how do you get along? Well, what do you do to get into the foundation? I mean, I don't understand. I mean, I just don't get it. Why it doesn't work together like you guys work with our community, so I appreciate it. Debbie Ware, thank you for all the years of service. She's the president, Citizen of the Year. Is that what it was called? Citizen of the Year. Thanks for all the years of service that you've given us through the chamber and through the bank and through everything that you've done. We really appreciate it. I know you've retired. That doesn't mean that you're done with the community service. So just want to make sure we have that good and straight here in the public. So appreciate everything you've done and congratulations on your award. So thank you. Oh, okay.
Go right in front.
Yeah.
Somebody got a phone?
I have no idea on that
You weren't here.
was more whiny.
Yeah, really. Hey,
I was gonna show the video, action video too. You might want to do that.
I got a good one, everybody with Mike Hacker.
Good sign, Brett.
Appreciate you.
For all you do.
I thought that was so.
You guys moved this up.
I
One more time.
You're not gonna hurt it.
Thanks. Yeah, that's good.
Somebody else.
You ain't gonna store that until you get it.
Okay, now we'll move on to
You're gonna approve it tomorrow.
committee reports.
Okay, see you tomorrow.
Councilman Guthrie.
Ian, how are you? I'm good.
First of all, I think the blacktop. If we go and look, I Avenue, 25th Street, 25th Street, to B Avenue, actually 25th Street the whole way. It's a truck route. So chug holes are horrible on it. 25th Street is caved in right before the track. I've already mentioned that before. But a good example is to go to Grand Avenue, 25th and Grand Avenue. We just paved Grand Avenue. We've already got a pothole there. The road is already broken up. I mean, it's because of heavy trucks. So, you know,
I don't know.
we gotta look, you know, instead of taking off 1.5 inches or 2 inches of chipping away, repaving 1.5 inches or 2 inches, it's not gonna cut it with a heavy truck running through. So we really need to find a way that we can fix that. We know it's a truck route.
Dave and I have already talked about it. 1400 Black, it's got some just ridiculous cracks in it. I think Carroll's just not what it used to be. I think it's lack of quality
Well, you
concrete
know,
asphalt.
this paving, I don't know who did the paving, but it was done in the fall.
We've had all three of them get paving, and one of them doesn't seem to be better than the other.
Mike, to be honest with you, I think part of the problem is this. One, none of those roads were ever originally designed to hold 80,000 pounds, okay? Two, the state came in a year ago, well, about 2 years ago now, I guess, and said to these contractors, whether it's IMI, PAL Paving, any of the companies that make hot mix, you are now allowed to put 40% wrap in your hot mix. Where before you were getting 100% virgin material, now you're getting recycled asphalt where they build it up, putting back in up to 40%, and you don't know how long that wrap's been laying in a pile somewhere. So, and Greg and I talked about this the other day, and I told him the same thing. I really think part of the problem is the wrap. They're putting in too much wrap into the virgin material, and it's not lasting. Because you're right, every road that we've paved in the last couple, 3 years is already starting to spider web and cob out. But it's not anything that the city's doing wrong. I really think it's back at the plants where they're adding the wrap material into the virgin material and making a mix.
I'm not saying that the city is doing anything.
No, I
I'm saying
understand
we've
that.
gotta have a plan to make sure this doesn't happen. You know, we can't control the pavement companies. I know,
Right.
we cannot control that. But we gotta have a plan, you know, somebody has to have a plan that, hey, big truck's gonna run down this.
Well, the only way to do that would you dug down about 2 feet down. I'm not talking about destroying the
Well,
whole
that's what will
road.
have to happen at
And
25th Street.
put in, you know, probably a foot of compacted tubes, and then bring it on up, and then put a binder down, or a base, and then build it up that way. But to be honest with you, if you do that, you're looking at maybe 1 mile of road a year. I mean, granted, it will last, but you're looking at maybe 1 mile of road a year.
I don't
with all
even know
these
how much
things.
of 25th we can get done if we had to do it the right way.
Well, we're just gonna go back and do it over, you know.
That's what we're at. I consider Trojan Lane a pretty new road. It's scheduled to be done again, but it needs done
I
again.
mean, when I seen that chug hole on new pavement, it's like, wow.
We've even got the plot.
By the avenues already.
Yeah.
But we got trucks that's gonna continue to run over this going to grade, going to ground.
we're going to continue. So it's just going to get worse.
Deals running that.
Right.
Is there any way many other cities and towns hold back asphalt companies responsible, or is there any way?
I mean, you probably have to look at what the terms of the contracts
Maybe
say.
you should get a little more teeth on the contract, you know, I know when the board of works approves, we always try to go most cost effective. I know you guys also, with our blessing, of course, sometimes you can't go the cheapest.
Yeah, but it's predominantly been either milestone or EV, which are doing state highways and interstates. They're doing our roads too.
Exactly.
This is a dumb question, but I'm reading articles every once in a while where they're using different materials, like even plastics. I mean, is there any other outside of the box materials like that? Is it worth looking into?
We actually started this year, a month ago, using what they call Easy Street cold mix. It's got polymer in it, okay? And it comes out of Louisville, Kentucky. And we actually did a test hole over right after the fire, okay, over at I Avenue in at Roosevelt, at Roosevelt. That hole's still patched. So they made, but at that time you could only get it in 50-pound bags.
Right.
Okay, this year they've started offering in bulk. And since last month to today, we went through those 50 tons. It's called Easy Street. And it is a different, it's not your typical cold mix. You can go out there and stick a shovel in, it falls in the hole. Nothing sticks to the shovel. Greg saw us, we actually put it in a hole and the water just separated. I mean, it was just like Moses parting the Red Sea. I mean, I don't know what it does or why it does it, but you can walk across it. It doesn't stick to your feet, but it stays in the hole. And so we are looking at different product out there. So
I've always thought, and granted I'm read a little different than most, but I always thought that, you know, having a test street where maybe we branch out, we don't do the same thing we've been doing since 1950, and we'll just see how it turns out.
Something I mentioned to Greg too, a week ago when we were looking at some of the different streets. And Greg is very concerned about it. Okay, it's not that he's not concerned. He's very concerned about paving a new road. And I told him that we may end up having to go back and seal these streets. If you look at a lot of the county roads, if they pave a road, the next year they go back and either do a sand seal or a chip seal over that road. Now, the people in town are gonna be real happy for a few days right after you do it because it's gonna be dusty.
Right.
But if you pave a road and then go back and seal it, the same way when you pave a driveway, sometimes you gotta put a sealer on that driveway. And I think if we could do that, if we could find the finances to do that, it would probably save these new roads from doing what a lot of them are doing, even if they are using the maximum amount of recycled material in the hot mix. So there are some things that we can do that is relatively inexpensive.
I think this street might be a test subject.
You good? But I agree with you, Aaron, on the test, because I travel all over the Midwest and the South, even on the interstate, you see where they're doing about a mile or two, just test pavement.
Right.
It's test pavement. But it's just something that we really need to look into, because actually 25th Street, right before you get to the old tracks, I call it the old tracks there, that never get used, it's very seldom. That is caving in big time. Big time. I don't know if anybody's went and looked at it.
Yep, we've looked at it a few times.
It's got worse, and it'll just continue to grow that way. So it's something we really need to look at. Okay, one other thing that I've got is on the ARP money. I would like to see us set aside maybe $200,000 to get rid of some block conditions as far as older homes. I don't know how you all feel about that. I feel like that would help us. It's not going to do a bunch. It'll be a start.
Yeah.
But it'll be a start.
We could take ARP money and match it with grant money.
Yes.
That might be an idea. That's how we got our first round.
definitely something we need to explore over the next 2 or 3 meetings and come up with a plan, because I think that's something you hear people talk about all the time. They'd like to see some of these houses come down, and the problem is they take down 10, but none of them are the one they want to have come down.
But it's a start.
How much does it cost us to take down a demo house?
Yeah, anywhere from 5 to 8 to 9,000.
I could go higher than that.
Yeah, if it's got a basement, it's 3-story tall.
That could be
You know, the basement has to be tore out the back bill.
Asbestos too.
So we can
Yeah,
get,
it's-
you know, if we were able to set aside $200,000 in a nice chunk of stuff.
Yeah, have a demo list, but after the housing authority had talked about, what do you call it, 19, 20, 20 through 25th,
Castle Heights.
BCD, yeah, Castle Heights, said that that's the highest water shut off. I said, after I start driving, that list could change real easy in a heartbeat of that area.
And that's something we can use direction from
Right.
water.
Well, we've actually, the housing committee actually has canvassed that area 3 times. We've taken data, electric base is not hooked up, water shut off, gas company helped get us a lot of data. I mean, the data's there if you guys like to see it.
We've demoed a couple over there, but that's just a pinch of one.
Yeah, it's, when you walk that area, you get a quick
I
idea.
mean, we could almost take an area.
Back in the day, I think a lot of the family members recruited relatives from Kentucky to work at Chrysler. And they bought that, and it was healthy, and they walked to work back and forth every day. And then when Chrysler went out, those houses, they moved out. And it is a lot more desolate than what I thought it was until they brought it to my attention.
I know that the city passed up on the state's owner-occupied rehab grant. The county did get it. I think a lot of that award went to the city properties, but I mean, if there is a housing shortage, it'd be neat to do it in a way and work with the land bank to where somebody could.
Well, we could give it to the land bank
Right,
and
right.
build back on top
Right.
of that
That's,
property.
yeah, that's
an
what I'm
idea.
saying. I don't necessarily want empty lots either, but better than blighted homes.
I mean, maybe if we in demo, then set aside some other money and we give anybody a grant, anybody that takes over one of those lots and they actually build a house on, start a house build on it in 1 or 2 years or whatever it is, and then we can grant them $4,000 or $5,000 out of that fund to, as an incentive.
I assume there's some building inspectors and utilities incentives that we can use to do that too.
Maybe a good location for that.
Right? Right.
Okay, let's keep that on the front burner.
Yeah.
See if we can maybe look into it. All right.
That's all.
Okay, Mr. Hancock?
I just want to talk a little bit about pickleball. This has nothing to do with Christie. Christie knew nothing about it and all that stuff, but it just brought it to my attention and all that stuff. And in 2013, Bill Maple came to me and said his fastest growing sport in Florida, and I could bring it here and have out a Walton Park. I said, Bill, I don't know if anything's feasible there, but let me look around. So as I took a look around and all that, I had the old tennis courts behind, which is now the skate park and all that stuff. It's all broken up, looked terrible. And so I came to the council meeting and presented a request for consideration of the council administration for pickleball court. And they suggest, Mayor Dorff suggested we take it to the park board. So then the next park board, I came before the park board along with Bill Maple, John Fisher, and Mike McAtee to propose having a pickleball court behind a volleyball court at Baker Park. These 4 gentlemen have formed a committee to try and get this project up and running. They would like to use the blacktop area there and send them to the tennis with the net in the middle, but rackets are smaller and lightweight, the ball used as a wiffle ball. It is very popular among younger and older generations, and it's not as dense or hard work as tennis. A lot of older people enjoy the new sport. It's very popular in Florida, and also was an article on the Muncie Star front page explaining pickleball. Myself mentioned this would be a partnership with the county and spoke with Joe Wiley, he would be willing to help blacktop the court. The sport would be funded through donations and pledges. So we set out to get some donations and all that, and got 19 donations. We figured out it's gonna be between $10,000 and $15,000. The project ended up being $13,000 and all that. So, and it was approved by the park board and all that, so we went to work on it and all that. Unfortunately, with the county and all that, Joe said, well, we pay for the blacktop and the manpower on Saturday, but the equipment was down, so we had to look for EV paving. They came in and paved it and all that, and got it up and running in 2014. Unfortunately, there is some problems going on right now with I sent some pictures, the cracks. It really needs to be, the course repainted. And Bud Air's cleaned up behind the basketball courts, because it was really a dump site. But there's some things getting there and all that. You look to the north, you'll see the ball diamonds, but if you look to the south, you're starting to see some things gathered there and all that. Are there any plans to maintain the pickleball court? And I appreciate you and Mike taking care of the fence. It looks great and all that. I was out there Thursday night and there's a church group out there playing and all that stuff. There is a drainage problem. Bill called me from Florida and he thought when the skate park came in, that drainage tile got some dirt in there. So there might need to be some new drainage put in there and all that. But are there any, I know you had a 10-year plan and all that, are there any in there for maintenance of keeping up the pickleball court? It really needs the cracks filled, sealed, it really needs the courts painted, and it really needs something like the girls' diamond big bar. They need something there where you don't see through the fence there and look at the back of the ball diamonds or anything like that.
I'll let Mike answer that, but I will ask, when you did this, like the dog park, the fun park, that committee or that organization takes care of the maintenance. You just maintenance around.
So out of $1 million bond, you don't have no money to spend?
But I don't think that's how it was with the pickleball course, because I think we accepted the gift of the pickleball course.
Yeah.
Now, the dog park's a different story, because the animal shelter charges a fee for you to go into that dog park.
And the fun part that helped the community. So it was how it was set up. And
But I think pickleball was given to the city, and I think
we took
Mayor York,
we took a terrible slide, made it into something nice, and now it just needs some maintenance done. Just like your normal car, if you don't maintain it 9 or 10 years, you're going to have a lot of problems and all that stuff.
Well, I don't play pickleball, but they never came to us and asked us what we wanted to do until the last meeting.
Right.
So I think our intent is we're working with them all we can.
Yeah, no, I think, honestly, it probably is our property, and it would be our due diligence to maintain it in that fashion. All the years I was at high school as an athletic director, it was about every probably 8 to 10 years that we would resurface, repaint, and repair tennis courts.
Right.
It's very similar, so
Yeah.
we're in that wheelhouse right now of getting that. Probably the unfortunate thing this past winter, those cracked grew probably more so than had in the past. So now this spring it looks, one court looks worse than it
I think
has.
you don't need paint or anything. I think we just seal those cracks and all that stuff. And the paint's all faded and restriped it and all that, boards and all that. Just put something up there where you don't see, and it's better, but there's still, a lot of stuff back there. It's a storage area and all that stuff, but you have Alabama gas and all that. We're looking for Johns and trucks.
Well, that's gonna be the nature of the beast, the location of
Right, but
area and the pickleball.
can we cover it and not see it? Because the basketball court, you don't see it and all that stuff. All it has to be those green things put in there or tarps put up there.
I got some screens.
And that would hide
We've
it.
had screens up there, they go down and rip apart, and it's probably more maintenance than it is worth. But yeah, we can.
Okay, you can hide that, seal that, get it striped off, and then maybe look at the drainage, whatever. Kevin Tag came in there and put some tile in there and all that. But, it's nothing about the skate park, nothing like that, it's just direct construction, so those up, it's not draining. Bill said at one time he had to clean one of the courts off. So I don't, is there some drainage in one court's water?
Well, yeah, we kind of looked at that, and I'm not sure, I'd probably have to get with Bill or somebody to point out the drainage issue, because that doesn't drain. I mean, if it rains, it's going to puddle in areas that are low.
Right.
So it's not like a softball or baseball field, when it's porous, goes through, it's the drain goes.
Right.
This is concrete asphalt, but it's gonna sit there.
Yeah.
That's what festers those, cracks and expansion and that, so yes.
They put a drainage tile on the west side, I'm pretty sure, because I was out there looking at it and all that. But over a period of time, any drains get dirt, bobcat and all that stuff. So, but they would greatly appreciate it. Christie called after she got wind that I knew about this situation and all that, and Bill called me from Florida, so it would be good to spruce it up a little bit. That would be great. Thank you. That's all.
Just one thing to add to that, if you look at those pictures that you sent, the leaves that are piled up back there by the fence, maybe that's causing a drainage problem itself too. I don't know what kind of drainage you got in here, but I think if you can remove some of those leaves that blow it up, it might help.
Mike?
There was a drainage problem. I think they did, because I pressure washed it one time and that water wouldn't go off of there. Would go back that one tile a little bit, but the tile was cracked and everything. But it would just stay on that farthest court west. But then since that time, there's been a drainage dish put in between the storage area and the pickleball courts. And I think that's helped the standing water. But the water stood there for so long before that, and I think that kind of hurt that court. But if you try to pressure wash it, it all goes down to that third court there.
That's all I got.
Mr. Walt?
Yeah, I start out with the mandate first. I sent all the council members an email of a couple of nominees for replacement of records that we lost. One I want to keep confidential for right now because I've not heard back from him, but the other name was Ed Hill. And we all know Ed. Ed is very willing to serve as one of the directors. So that would take care of one of the two open positions that we have.
It's a nomination.
That would be a nomination.
I'll second that, mostly for the fact that it's very familiar with what goes on in May.
He's on the planning
He's on the planning commission. He's done a lot with black communities before. He worked with DIS.
And he serves on housing. He knows what's going on. He's one of the people behind trying to get this land back. So I think he'd be a very, very good, responsible director for us to put to that position.
It's been moved and seconded.
Mike Duffy.
Aye.
Jeff Hancock.
Aye.
Jerry Walden.
Aye.
Andrew Dickens.
Aye.
Mark Cooper. Brett Staples.
Aye.
I will inform Ed that it's good to go, and Joel, all that, the rest of the directors.
Okay.
So,
You'll let him know he's been volunteered.
Yeah.
Voluntold.
Voluntold. He was pretty excited about the opportunity, and I've worked with him so much. He's more busy now as a retiree than he was when he was a worker. So that's a good move. The second thing, Rex had called me, a couple weeks ago, Rex?
2 weeks.
About some projects within my precincts, and I've talked about these before. Possibility of putting in some sidewalks in a strategic placement to try to tie our trails together. Number one, Ms. Mayor, I know you've been working on this with the state. When they redo North 16th Street, they've already said that they're going to take the sidewalk from Kentucky Avenue to Washington Street. I think, you and I have talked about trying to get them moved on out to the hospital. I think as a council, it would behoove us to think about the possibility of extending that sidewalk on out to the hospital. One, because the health facilities out there, closeness to Little Wright, and the closeness to both the trails now that we have in that vicinity. To me, that would be a top priority of the 3 projects that I'm going to present to you. The second one would be on North 14th Street, basically from Michigan on out to Gardner Street. That would be a direct link to the trail that goes out that block. I do see some issues there. West side would be a little bit tougher than the east side, I think, if we were to decide to do that. If we put it on the east side, there would have to be a crosswalk going back west across North 14th Street. Put it on the west side, there's a valley just past Washington Street that there had to be some kind of culvert or bridge or something placed on there. The third proposal that I came up with is off of Spring Street, going on Brown Street to 24th Street, or 24th Street on the Washington Street. That too would finish out the sidewalks that are already in place on Spring Street. Kind of goes in off 540 on Brown Street in the Baptist Church. That too would give us a circle to the Fitzgerald Trail. These are just ideas. I was following suit for what Grant asked me to look into. I met with Dave, and I thought I got a city discount for me when I sat down with him. Man, I walked out there, I was really excited. I said, man, we're going to be able to do all 3 of these. The cost on these for the North 14th Street and the Washington Street, around $80,000. And then for the North 24th Street, about $110,000 for a sidewalk on one side. Since I've been on this council, guys, the city, Mayor York has done a lot for my precinct. Like you look at Osborne Park, you look at Hospital Heights Park, you look at 20th Street. There's a lot of good things going on out in that part of our city, and it needed it. But to do something like this, I don't think people understand how many people walk up and down 14th Street to get to the trails, or ride their bikes, or go up 16th Street and go out that way. You just don't realize that until you spend some time there. Washington Street's in good shape because we have a bike space in there to go up towards where we are. So it's just something to consider. I'm looking forward to sitting down with Mr. Mayor with the new NDOT person. I know you've been working with him, Dave. I know you've been working with him. This 16th Street's going to be a big deal. It's going to be a total rebuild. They've got to build down the little base and place everything right there. So we'll get an idea of what that's going to look like when we get started on it. These would be good for our city. It's just not for precincts and the citizens that I represent out here. It would be good for our whole city. It would look good for our largest employer in the county. It might be a case where we go knocking on some of the doors there and say, hey, if you're willing to do this, what part would you like, or would you be able to help us out? It might be that, if we can't talk to state and see if they don't have. I think that's really important. That's as I said, my top priority. I know a couple of you had some questions that you wanted to ask Joe about this. Mark, I know you had a couple.
I think, obviously, we've already seen the success, but I think the hospital should be on board, on us, on the community. $260,000, you know, for the two, right?
Yeah.
Minus 24th Street, but I think that might be our goal, but I think if we put enough pressure on the state of making it, keep saying the word safe, and, you know, safe for the citizens, safe walking, along with the hospital being there, a mental health facility being out that way, 2 nursing homes, or trails, I mean, I think enough pressure on the state.
I appreciate the mayor's work. He's been trying to get that. He and Dave have been
You know, they did,
hammering this out.
I know 18th Street was already there, but, you know, they had to tear all those out when they did 18th Street.
But it's up to be repackaged, I mean, what they call that, the 10-year.
About 10 years, they're gonna resurface, you guys know that, don't you? From Broad Street all the way out to Riley, and I think they're gonna continue on out to 300.
So what?
And they're supposed to update the ADAs, because codes have changed since the last time we put that road in.
So those are just some things to think about.
And we do have
Oh, I know what I'm
the
saying.
money to do that, and still have plenty left over to build houses.
You got Nate Barker's.
Would there be easements to take into consideration? Will we have to get property owners through there?
See, on 16th Street, that's a state road. I don't know how far their right of way goes out. That's why we have to get them involved.
I
Because they
think if
have,
we do 24th Street,
yeah. Anytime you get off the state road.
I mean,
Now,
so that would be in consideration, maybe,
Now, the guy that knows all this as far as like, from Michigan out to Garner Street is One Head Hill.
right.
We went over all this when we talked about, about the
Right.
trails and all that, and this was one of the projects we wanted to turn into Safe Routes to School. It's not done.
But at some point, I do, Reds, I've talked to you about this, this mayor, I've talked to you about this today. I'd really like to sit down with the mayor head and talk about this project. And I'm not giving up on State Road 136. To me, I think that's not only important to the city of Newcastle, but it's important to our county and the economic growth that could bring to us. We're not just looking at industrial corporate growth, we're looking at residential growth. You know, it's just like Louisville's lost 40% of their population since the 80s. No one wants to talk about that. We've lost, what, 20% of our population since the 80s? And for us to have the only state road in all the state of Indiana intersects an interstate, doesn't have an exchange, and that's a federal highway and a state road, why in the world would it even come out of their mouth that, well, the county's going to have to come up with some money to make that happen. We're not going to redo it anyway. That overpass is going to be redone, so why not go ahead and do that? I know I'm common sense and I'm simple-minded, but they don't. I get frustrated. I don't
I would add one thing that, you know, your comments about the area out there around what we write. You know, that area out there probably has maybe the largest area of undeveloped land that houses could be built on in the city.
Right, yeah.
We talk about that a lot, but everybody always talks about out here, and not any of those houses contribute to our tax base.
And a little bit of
All-
what's happening there.
But that could be a big place of development if we make it to where people live. There's they've got nice sidewalks, they've got trails, it's close proximity to hospital, and all these different things. So that could be a big plus.
So, Jerry, has anyone sat down with the state?
Oh, yeah, Dave had, how good to say.
So when's the state
Rob
project
says,
supposed to go?
Rob says mine's Friday.
They've done above and beyond, they really
It's
have.
supposed to start in June. When I addressed it, they said you should have addressed this 2 years ago. They were in the design. And I said, I know that, but I'm pleading our case. If we can get you guys to look into it. You know, we can do it as a change order, you know, if we can come up with some funding. Let
And Mike, one of the big things was there at Kentucky Avenue, where floods there on the 16th, That drain's not big enough. It's what, a 16-inch drain right now?
Which one?
The drain there at Kentucky Avenue where the creek runs under.
There's a big drain under there.
It's
There's a big box culvert under there.
But it's gonna have to be increased. We don't-
They busted a hole in it to relieve the pressure, has so much running through it, so that's what allows.
And they.
A lot wrong right there.
So, it's not that David Bear hasn't been beating their heads against the wall with it. They really have. I
So
can't tell you.
anytime the state does the sidewalk, so does the city have to come back and be responsible? With 18th Street.
Well, actually, the people, the houses along the sidewalks are, according to our ordinance, are responsible. Jerry, would you be willing to maybe touch base with the hospital, see if they might have some desire to help us with the sidewalk project?
I'll go out and talk to them. I know most of them.
Yeah, I thought you know, it's in your area and everything, and it might, might be good, just touch base with them.
Yeah,
Appreciate
nursing
it.
homes too. All
Yeah, that's it.
Mr.
Thanks for allowing me to talk about this, guys. It's really important to me, and the people out in that part of our town are very appreciative of what's happening, taking place like this. But please don't think they aren't, because they really are. Thank you for this.
I yielded my time to Councilman Walton.
What a congenial soul.
So I have 15 more minutes.
Sit back. Get comfortable. I've just got, I've got actually 3 things I want to ask about. Well, one of them is a statement. I want to thank Councilman Coder, Councilman Guffey for being willing to put their vehicles at risk by allowing me to ride in them while I was convalescing from my shoulder. They both at different times gave me rides to meetings and picked me up. Took me home.
It's always enjoyable rides to and from.
Yes. Talk a lot. But anyway, I really appreciate that, gentlemen. Now, one thing I wanted to bring up was the mausoleum. I talked to Steve Hacker because I saw an article back in 2008. The mausoleum was clean. When Sherman was mayor. And so I talked to him, and he said at that point they used people from prison to do the cleaning. He said they did power wash it, but they didn't power wash it on the highest settings. And he said it cleaned it up pretty good.
I've got 2 power washing companies give me prices on it. We're supposed to take the bases down today and power wash them and get them repainted. So,
all right, great. Then my other thing is, do we have, I know we have Mike Conn here, but Mike is kind of a busy guy, and he deals more with just open grants. Is anybody actually looking into grants for us? Because I see a lot of other places getting a lot of grants, and I see us with pretty much zero.
yeah, we have 2 or 3 different people. It used to be, with Oker. Susie Ripley, she's with RQAW now. She's looking for grants. Mike Kleinpeter, Christy York, actually, she's found a couple of road grants when they got me turned in, this, that. So, yeah, we're.
I just don't. I just don't. I mean, over the last 6 years, I'm just not really seeing us getting much from grants, and I see other places all the time on the list of grants from the state and on the list of.
You ever see them? Bring them up.
Well,
Yeah.
I know we have. I mean, we brought up the owner-occupied rehab, and that got shot down. I think there's been other ones. Mr. Dickens forwards a lot of grant opportunities, but I just think we've got to start going after some of these things. So maybe we can bring a little extra money.
We've got to have max money for them too.
Well, we do have some
have
match money.
money.
Well, we've always had some match money. And there's no grant we at least shouldn't really consider it.
I mean, I know that the county acquired that owner-occupied rehab grant from the state through ARA. I know that we used it along the ARA. I don't know what the cost of that is. You're talking, that's pretty immediate return on the investment there, something to consider.
Usually 10,000 is what it was.
a year.
Maybe we need to meet with them or something.
Well, they did such a bad job, they gave us our money back. So,
They did.
call it what you want.
Okay. That's all I have, so I'll turn it over to you, Ron, for reports from you and the folks.
Chief?
Got anything else?
Great. Mainly, nothing else? Did get email from another mayor in Ukraine. Corey Murphy or someone sent the picture of our tax out on 338. And we got a thank you from the mayor in Ukraine saying thank you.
Now, as I understand it, there's a gentleman who used to manage CarQuest, Ukrainian or Polish, but I think he's now lives back in Poland. He's a mayor of one of the cities with a lot of refugees. I'm sorry.
So it's a good idea, Jeff, and got some feedback from a long way away from.
Yeah.
That's all I have.
Okay, any citizens wishing to come before council?
I just have one question about Nellis on Hawthorne. On the back end of the cemetery on Southern Avenue, there's one section of fence that just keeps falling down, and getting worse and worse. Is there any plans to try to straighten that up or make it look better? I mean, it's actually where they store some of the stuff behind the building. But it's when you're going around Southern behind my house, my Ingersoll's old house. If they would just look at it, it just keeps looking worse.
Okay, we will. Actually,
I wouldn't even care if they took the fence down there. I know you have to have it, but
well, we need to fence in the air conditioning unit for the building because it keeps getting stolen. So we might take some of that fence down and wrap the hurricane.
I'll loan you $1, Kim.
Do you have a new air conditioning unit at your house?
My air conditioning unit's there. They're not coming in my house. So thanks you.
Okay.
Okay. Anyone else?
The Newcastle Land Bank did close on another property Friday. Jerry's got the information there, but appreciate the help of Joel closing all these properties for us. Still going well. We've got another house that's, there's been agreement written up for and waiting for that to go through too. So doing a good job on it. And thanks for the Jeff and Kenny and the building inspector department for all their help.
They've been showing up to meetings this year, so they're over time. And that puts us well over $29,500.
So now if we can get some of those other houses through the tax sale for free, and we'll have somebody to demo those and then sell them to somebody else, and that's what that program's for, is not to get rich on, but to keep funneling that process.
Oh, and someone bought the house in North Main here, right?
Yes. Northwest.
The burnout down here on North Main? Someone bought it.
They are gonna tear it down.
We'll tear it down.
Good.
Yep, they've already paid their tap fee, the ticket, everything. They're waiting for the gas to be taken.
They still haven't retired gas.
No, they still have not.
We don't give them a discount on that tap fee.
Just saying.
Tear down that house.
Okay, any other citizens? Here, seeing none, motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Thank you.
I'm Val. I've known him since he was a kid. I'm telling you, I saw a picture of Nick. He looks like Bob Lauer. I don't know. He's definitely got some great cut jeans in.